Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 263 of the podcast. I'm Kat Caldwell. I am the hostess of the podcast. You can hear us on every single podcast app. You can watch on YouTube. You can witness my dying plant. I swear I'll water it someday. You can see my guests on the YouTube channel if you want, but you can get access to the guests on all of the show notes. Today, we are just going to do a little bit of an update, a check-in. How are we doing with our writing? And I'm going to give you some hints as to who is coming in a couple, like in the next few weeks. If you guys have missed the podcast, there are some pretty awesome guests for the last few weeks. Like last week, I talked to Rebecca Pickens about editing, and it was editing in a whole different way, like looking at editing instead of just like this huge task set before you. She really breaks it down into 3 different levels, which I found really interesting and have been using as I am editing crossing the English Channel. Now that I have a title, I can't remember the title. So I've been using that as well. I already had, kind of her macro level down. So I'm kind of down into the like copywriting part, which is very exciting. But you guys should definitely check that out. I also had Lynn Bohart. She talked about switching genres and kind of now going back and forth between 2 different genres. And then we had Stacy Juba on as well. Just check the archives. That's what it's called. I don't know. Wherever you're listening to this, you'll see all of the episodes there. So we're going to catch up a little bit because I've been running around. I've been learning some new things, and I want to let you guys know all about them. I have like all these little cards in front of me from all the places I've been. So I have done a couple like personal traveling in the last few weeks. As you guys might know, I went to India in February. That seems like years ago already. It's crazy. But that sort of started out this just like couple months of craziness. I did not finish crossing the English Channel before going to India, and I was really disappointed about that. But when I got back, I actually had like jet lag hit me pretty hard, and I had some family stuff going on. And so it was difficult to get it done. And I actually did this thing that I hate to do. I don't know that I hate to do. I've just never done it before. I contacted Stacy Juba to edit this one because she's a great romance editor. And I said, I know it's not perfect. In fact, I could go back over it, but I just feel like I'm stuck. And I feel like this is as good as my brain can give it at this moment. And so I did what we kind of tell you guys not to do. I paid my big editing fee up front when I knew it wasn't totally ready. And that was just a decision I had to make. It's not that I have a great income from the books that I can just do that. It was just a decision I made. And then from there, that just puts a lot more pressure on me taking the edits that she's given me and going forward with them, and then sort of not getting the like, I guess then she's not going to have another take on it. You know what I mean? I always pay for somebody to proofread it. I have a couple of people who just are great at that. They're kind of part of the ARC team, plus they get a little payment for proofreading it. So that will happen as well. But I'm pretty excited. It's kind of what my brain needed, because then my husband had to go travel, and then I went to the Future of Publishing mastermind. I didn't get to stay for the conference part, but I did go to the mastermind. And it was great to have that book done at that point and off at Stacy's. It was just a relief. I knew that I was going to need to do a lot of editing when I got back, but it's something, right? And so I went to the mastermind. Russell Nolte hosted it with Monica Leonel, and they're just awesome. They just know a lot. And unfortunately, they're not going to do it again next year. I think it's because in the end, you know, it's really great to meet other writers. It's actually, I think, essential. And I think it's sad um, that it takes so much effort to put something together in order for us to meet people and to talk. But in the end, like the amount of learning that you need to do is just like applying, unfortunately, like the choices that you make and how to sell your books. You can hear about like somebody's like it's not like I didn't learn stuff. In fact, we learned about taxes, which is great. Not maybe not exciting, but it was needed. We learned about translation, what Melissa Storm does for her translations. I'm not at translations, especially when she broke down cost. No, no, no. There is some AI translations coming about, but you still need to pay somebody who can read that language so that they can tell you if the AI translated properly, right? So, there are nuances to that. But in the end, you just have to go forward and find some method that works for you. And I don't know if I was contemplating whether this was encouraging or discouraging, but there were a couple people at the mastermind who I thought of as having made it. Like I fangirled over a writer there. I was just like flabbergasted that she was there. um that sort of like I just happened to sit next to her, and I was just, when I found out her name, I was just like my jaw dropped. And I walked away. She was a lovely person, really, really kind, gave me a lot of insight on like the traditional publishing world or whatever. And now she's kind of doing like hybrid, both both worlds. Just want to check my mic. Yes, it's on. So at first I was like discouraged because I thought, well, if she's here, like she has like 45 books out. She's here to learn more things, about how to move forward with her books. And I was like kind of depressed about it, thinking like, oh my gosh, are we is there ever a point at which you make it a little bit and can just relax? And I was talking to Emma Dessy, and she was like, well, probably not. Like it's a business. And I was like, oh no, I don't know. You know, Maybe we just got to learn to love the business part. So right now, what I am doing is I'm learning to love my business, let's say. I am putting together art team. If you are listening to this, you still have time if you are a historical romance reader. If you're not a historical romance reader, don't sign up. Or if you want to become a historical romance reader, just know that it's historical romance. It's a little angsty, little swoony. It is closed door though. And I think it's the first one in which there's no like real trauma on the female protagonist side. So I'm kind of proud of myself. She is disabled. She's visually impaired, but that's kind of like the only thing that she's dealing with. Not that that's a little thing, but yeah, there's no like really terrible trauma. So you still have like this is going out on the 7th. You have until the 24th to sign up, because I actually don't need your like review until May 27th. Yeah, May 27th. So Crossing the English Channel will come out May 27th. I'm putting it out there in the world. Oh my gosh. I haven't set up the pre-order yet because I'm not like mentally there. But I'll put the link in the show notes for that if you want to sign up. If you sign up and something happens, not a big deal. My goal is to get to 100 signups so that, I get like, I'm hoping like 20 really great reviews because I know life happens, things happen, and and some people will start to read the book and they're like, no, actually, this is not for me, and that's totally fine. But if you know of other people, send them the link. If your grandma loves historical romance, if your mom and they're not listening to the show, send them the link, please. Like, help me out. It'd be great. And although we're like 6 minutes into the show already, speaking of helping me out, if you would like to help me out, you should review the podcast. You should, subscribe to it on whatever app you're using. You can subscribe to lessonsandstory.substack.com. That's mine. You can sign up to my newsletter. And if you really want to help out the show monetarily, which it doesn't do ads, I don't make any money on the show, but if you just want to like be kind and support me monetarily, you can support me on Substack, or you can buy my books. That'd be cool too. Um, or if you need coaching, you know where to find me. So, as I'm learning to love my business, I am doing a real ARC team this time. I just am finding it a little bit easier to search for those historical romance readers, I guess. I think last year with Bended Loyalty and Bended Love, things were happening in my family, like my growing up family. And I think I was just at the end of my creativity, and I didn't know how to do it. And I struggled with doing the Kickstarter plus an ARC team. It just took all of my energy to do the Kickstarter, even though I would do it again, and I might do it again when all the historical romances are done and do it like a hardcover. We'll see. So I'm also learning to organize my spending in my business, which is really not exciting. I don't like it at all. I'm just going to put that out there. And running like paying running ads and really trying to look at the data, which I also really don't like. I'll just say that. I don't like data, but I'm trying to learn to like data. So I also at the conference or the mastermind, I I learned from Melissa Storm that she was using whisper memos for her dictation, and I've talked to you guys a little bit about dictation. I'm not great at it. It really trips me up. I've tried a couple different programs. What really trips me up is the next line and the closed quotes, and like thinking about it as it's supposed to come out on the page while thinking about the story just like crosses my wires. And so I want to tell you guys about whisper memos. It's amazing. It pretty much, I think it's like 97% accurate, cuts up the paragraphs and the periods and things like that. It's like a little bit of the question marks or things like that you have to check, but it finds, like, it's not run on sentences, it's not a run on paragraph. It emails you what you finish right away. If you sit there for like 5 minutes with dead air, it doesn't close on you, which is amazing. It is not great about dialogue tags, but also from Melissa Storm. Thank you, Melissa. She then like puts it up into her chat GPT and says, please fix the punctuation and add quotation marks around any dialogue that you find. Now, once again, it is not 100%, right? You still need to check it, but it has come in really handy because I went to go see my friend, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing. You can see like my nail is still bloody. And I was trimming her bushes, and I really cut my finger pretty bad. Now I have learned to like type three-fingered with my left hand, but every once in a while I hit my fingers, so it's pretty bad, and it hurts. But I started dictating with whisper memos. Now it costs $40 a year, but I tried a couple other ones, and I didn't like it at all. I have this week like caught up with a lot of work with newsletters, just dictating them. I wrote 3 chapters dictation wise. And again, still have to edit it, but it is amazing. And again, it records it and then it emails it to you. So I haven't not had any problem with it losing. So when I'm in the car, when I'm taking a walk, just notes when I need to get things off my head, like what do I need to do today? I've done those notes and then sent it over to my Notion file. So I think that's just a really great little perk there that I learned at the mastermind, along with like holy cow, we never get to a point where we get to just stop. I don't know if I like that part. So a lot of the regular people were there um, at the mastermind, and a couple of them are going to be coming on the show. So Curios, I'm going to get on the show. They are, they started out as a music like online sales platform that musicians could sell their stuff on, and now they're going into the indie author world. And Curios is a place where you can sell your ebooks and audiobooks directly to the consumer, and they don't charge you the transaction fee. They charge the consumer the transaction fee. Plus they are blockchained, so that if somebody resells your book, you get a profit off of that. Like, isn't that cool? Now, I'm sure there's more to it, so I'm going to have Greg from Curios or somebody else come on and like talk to us about this, but it's pretty awesome. Curios.com if you guys want to go. I'm holding up a little sticker from them. It's curios.com. You guys can go check it out. I also did I talk to you guys about manuscript report? I wonder if I did. Okay, let me repeat myself if I did. Manuscript report was not at the mastermind, but Florin just contacted me. Manuscriptreport.com is a pretty interesting like rundown of your manuscript. You upload it and it like spits out a summary, it spits out SEO, it spits out a sales copy ideas. Again, it's AI, it's not 100%. I think it's like 90%. It gives you some comps that you probably wouldn't have thought of. You're still gonna have to go check those comps and check their sales and check when they were, you know, published and all that. Um, but it's $30 and it gives you a 25-page report. And um, when you're just like at that marketing stage and you've run out of creativity and you're tired, but you now need to sell your book, it could be a jumping off point for you. So go check it out. If you're on my newsletter, you would have gotten an email about where to check it. Now, if you're on my newsletter and you didn't open that newsletter, go find it. There's a little link to see the report that it gave me. I'll put the link in the show notes below. You can use the coupon CAT5 and get $5 off. So it's $30. You can try it. Do not upload anything that's not finished. So it's just going to read it. It keeps your book for 30 days because if you have a problem with the report, you can email them directly and say, I don't think that it did the report correctly, or I don't like how it did this. And they'll redo another one at 30 days. They delete it. Take that as you will. It's more AI, right? AI, it's everywhere. Let's see who else is coming on the show. I also met Joel from Launch My Book. Launch My Book is kind of this, for any of you listening who don't really want to do the launch, let's say. And I know a lot of you, like right now, I'm doing quite a few people's formatting, and that's really easy for me. It's formatting is just one of those things. You either have to buy the software, which is a couple $100, or you have to pay me $100 to format it, up to you. But Launch My Book pretty much can do up to everything it takes to do to get the book into the world, right? The plus audiobook. So Joel is going to come and he's going to talk to us about what they do and why you might choose. Now that, clearly that is going to take more money from you and save you time, right? So that's always this exchange of money to time. But they do cover design, both print and ebook, formatting, interior samples. You get to see it. For audiobook, they can find a narrator, they edit it, they set up the recording studio. That's nice. They can set you up in Ingram Spark, KDP, ACX, Author Central, Bowker, get your ISBNs, help you find the book categories. That's such a bummer for sometimes like determine the price. And then they can help you launch, your book description, and you're getting your first batch of reviews. We're going to find out how much this all costs. I have a little check sheet here. So Joel's going to come on and talk to us about that. Next week, Jessie Cuniff, I think is how you say her last name, Book Blurb Magic. She's going to come on and talk to us about book blurbs. And I bought her course. I do this so that I can check things for you guys, but it's actually helpful. We all know how much I hate writing a blurb. So I'm going to next week, before we get into the interview, read the blurb that I am writing with her course so that you can decide for yourself what you think about it. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is Phoebe at the Mastermind actually told me about this book. So Rachel Aaron's 2000 to 10,000, How to Write Faster, Write Better, and Write More of What You Love. It's a little tiny book. Okay. So I've only read a little bit of it because this is how I do things. And it's actually an old book in the sense of nonfiction. It's from 2017. And it's how she got to write 10,000 words a day, which is intriguing, right? It's really intriguing. Now, the first thing that jumped out at me, which is what I want to leave you guys with today, if it's not learn to love the business side of it, as my husband does taxes downstairs and is like yelling at the ceiling, that's something that we have to learn to love, I guess. And some of you all love that part. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But most of you listen, if you're still listening, are here for the writing, right? And so this is what got me about this book. And I think it is obvious, but at the same time, possibly something that we're not practicing. It's the very first thing that she says in the book, and it is to know what you're writing before you write it. This, when I tell you guys, sometimes you just need to close the computer and go outside and take a walk and think. There's this is my epiphany. There's a part of that missing. And sometimes I dictate into the thinking, right? Like, how am I going to write the scene? What is missing from the scene? What Rachel is saying here is do that before you start writing. And I know it just sounds so obvious, and I feel really stupid even bringing it up to you guys. And maybe you guys do this. This is different from your outline. Unless you write an 80-page outline, your outline gives you a little blip, right? But this is actually sitting down. And Rachel says she sat down and wrote 3 pages in her notebook by hand of just thoughts of what needs to happen, in the next scene. This is kind of all these thoughts that I have, and this is why this needs to happen. And, all the, our brains will go 50 pages forward in the book and, writing that out. And she says it took 5 minutes, literally. But she then opened her laptop again and started writing, and within an hour and a half had 3,000 words instead of 2,000 words. And I think this comes down to even if you get the discipline of sitting down every day, how many of you have sat down and just the words are not coming and it just gets so frustrating? Like me, there are days that the words just flow. And then there are days that I'm like, I've got to get something done. Why is it so stilted? And a lot of times those are days that I'll go back and delete that entire or almost that entire chapter. So this feels really stupid to even have to say this, but to actually sit down and think through all the things that kind of need to happen in the book in the next couple pages actually allows you to just then write. So again, I can write with my right hand. So I did do this practice. I did it on the plane. I actually hate typing on the plane because I always fly economy and it's really squished. So I got my notebook out and I wrote everything, out, just sloppy, whatever. And then when I got to the hotel, I wrote out a chapter and it really works. I've also used it in dictation, and I have to say It works-ish, but it's almost like you don't have the connection. Now, it's great. It's better than nothing, but I think taking the time to write it by hand is actually it just sort of connects things better. But again, like there are days where you just need to dictate. Like you're in your car and you're thinking, okay, when I sit down for to write tonight or this afternoon or at lunchtime, what is it that needs to be done? Right? Like what is our next scene? What needs to happen with this character? What are we developing in the plot? Whatever that is, right? So if it is dictation, if it ends up being that, just dictate it. Cool. It's better than nothing, right? Like experiment with what it is. But I just found that so crazy, stupid, easy. Like that it blew me away. It's like um one of those really simple duh moments that I feel like I'm so stupid to not have figured this out before, you know. And honestly, this is way different from like that little, that little hint you write yourself at the end of the day where you're like, okay, in the next scene, so and so needs to steal the bread, and run away. Like, yes, that's helpful. That's better than nothing. But to actually write out all the things that you kind of see in your head without having to put in the dialogue and think that you're trying to be, you know, cute with your words or whatever, like writing, it works. Just try it. Let me know what you think about it. Maybe if you already do this, let me know why or how you figured that out. She also talks about like the place. And okay, so I have this lovely office, right? And I kind of feel silly going out to a coffee shop and writing because I have this really lovely office here and I should just write here. But there are times that you just get more done if you leave your place, the place that you're used to. I know a lot of people, like these habit people, say that you should be in the same place and then your brain knows where you are and that it's time to write and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Maybe they have a point. But sometimes don't you feel like you can just concentrate more if you're at the coffee shop? Like sometimes no, but sometimes yes. So that's going to be my thing this coming week is giving myself permission to go somewhere else to write. I tried to do it a lot at a library and I almost fell asleep because there's literally no sound there. You're supposed to be like quiet at a library or something, whatever. So I'm going to try that. So also let me know if um if you change up your space, like does that help you? So that's kind of my recap. I'm not traveling for the next few weeks, but it is spring break. My kids are off. We have in-laws coming in. So, things are happening, things are moving. This week I will be finishing up the edits for Crossing the English Channel. Again, if you want to be an ARC reader, you have time. I will be handing out the ARC copies between the 23rd and the 24th of April. And then you'll have a whole month to read it. And again, if you start reading it and you don't want to continue or life happens, you can always just let me know. It's not like, you know, a blood pact. But I'm really excited about the book. I think it's just a fun book. I think Philip is really fun. And I think you're just going to enjoy it. It's going to be like a great summer beach read. So I do have to find the cover for it. Oh my gosh. So that is what I will be doing. If you're still listening, next week we are doing book blurbs. Then we're going to talk to Launch My Book, Joel with Launch My Book, and we have a couple other people coming up. Yay. If you know of anyone else that you want on the podcast, remember we take a break in July and August. So if you want some people, the slots are filling up, let me know. You can get on my newsletter. You can email me there. You can message me. A lot of you message me through my website, and that's awesome. Catcaldwell.com. Just go to the contact form. You can also find me on TikTok, author.catcaldwell, and on Instagram, author_Cat Caldwell. And you can message me there as well. And don't forget to sign up for the ARC or to send it to your grandma or your mom or whatever. Tell them being an ARC is not hard. It's just, you just need to know how to like read on an like e format, right? in case they're interested. So I would appreciate that. Also, make sure to send this podcast to all your writer friends and be sure to tune in next week to hear my blurb that I'm writing with Jesse's blurb writing magic course. And I'll see you next week.